Welcome to the Gyrl podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's glow up together. All right, happy Thursday, my friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you all are having a great week. Well, we are rolling right along into 2026. Like I said before, I hope things are going well for you. I hope that the year has started in a meaningful way for you. I hope you were able to ease into your January, your February. Hope everything is going good for you. All right, let's talk about my guest today. My guest today is Bishop Kevin Foreman. He is an influential pastor, author, entrepreneur, and success coach. He's known as the People's Bishop. From humble beginnings, he has built a life centered on faith, leadership, and transformation, helping others walk in purpose, wholeness, and find good success. So, today we'll be talking about pain to purpose, faith, leadership, and resilience. So, let's go ahead and bring Bishop Foreman into the chat. All right. Welcome back. And I'm so glad to welcome Bishop Kevin Foreman to the show. Welcome.
I am super excited to be with you today. I think it's going to be an amazing conversation.
Yes. Well, why don't we go ahead and dive in by having you tell everyone listening or watching who you are and what you do?
Well, they come with the people's bishop because I love the people that I lead and I do so much. So you got a bishop, which is a pastor to pastors. I'm mentoring. Every coach needs a coach. Every general needs a general. Every leader needs a leader. I've been that way since I was a little kid. The joke is I came out of my mom's womb with a Bible and a briefcase. So I just had this affinity towards spiritual things and this affinity towards success, business, entrepreneurship, being a pioneer, building your own. Those two worlds never collided for me. They always converged for me. Those are two things that always work together. And so, philanthropists, we do a lot in the communities that we serve. Our headquarters was in Denver. We just recently moved it to the Atlanta, Georgia area. So I'm brand new to the Atlanta area, but what we've been able to do in terms of impacting communities is amazing. Tens of thousands of toys given away, hundreds of thousands of pounds of food, clothing, et cetera, that we've done. And we empower people financially. I love, we started measuring how many new 6 and 7 figure earners we create. And our people love receipts, so they know, don't just tell me, show me. And so it's so amazing. Just yesterday, someone showed me their business. They just crossed the $2 million mark yesterday. We got another one of my mentees. He just crossed the $7 million mark. Another crossed the 15 million. So it's just amazing to see. But life is so much more than just money. But money is certainly a part of life, and so we've got that. We've got the church, which is Harvest Church, which is we're going to be launching that location here in the Atlanta area here real soon. But we're a hybrid church in buildings and online, so wherever anybody is, we are, and it's amazing. We've seen tens of thousands of people connect with us that way. We've got that. We've got businesses that I own and mergers and acquisitions and the buying and selling of businesses. You can build it from scratch, which I've done a lot of my life, or you can buy what somebody else built and you
Mhm.
can go further faster. So many things that we do involve in policy from the political side. And so back in Denver, we used to do that a lot in terms of influencing the policies that are positively impacting the lives
Mhm.
of people, not the political side, but the policy side of where does the rubber meet the road? How is this policy going to impact and better somebody's life? So it was very common for lawmakers to send me bills and say, Bishop, what do you think about this? Redline your sports, change this, change that. And I think about in Denver how in the height of the George Floyd protests just not that long ago here in the United
Mhm.
States, I made one phone call. I lived downtown Denver, so I could see the folks protesting
Mhm.
what have you, rightfully so. And I made one phone call to an elected official, and I said to him, I said, we need legislation on this. We need a bill. I said, this is clearly going too far. We need to take action. Colorado is only 4% African American, so it's not a lot of ethnic or racial diversity. One phone call turns into the nation's first comprehensive police reform and accountability act that went into, from that phone call, a week and a half later, was signed into law. And so I think you name it, I likely have some level of interaction or background and connectivity to it. So I do a lot. But if someone was asking me, what do you do? I mainly live life as a student. I'm competing with yesterday's version of myself.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's definitely something we talk about a lot in this community is continuing to better ourselves and be a better
Yes.
version. That's
Yes.
the one thing, that's the thing I say every day before my feet hit the ground to God is that I'm like, Lord, help me be better than I
Yes.
was yesterday.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. Like you said, being a student, always learning. Because
Yeah.
always used to say this to when I was in the corporate world, I used to tell my team, I was like, you have to keep learning. Like, if you're not
Mhm.
a student, if you're not learning
Mhm.
something new every day, then you may as
Mhm.
well not even be here anymore
Absolutely.
because it's
Absolutely.
so important. Well, I want to say, first of all, welcome to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta. I'm based in Atlanta, so welcome.
Well, listen, it is. I have to say, this. So I was born in Denver, raised in Memphis, and then back to Denver. So when I came to Atlanta, I was expecting the South. This is not the South. This is a big city in the South. And so it has been a learning journey, but
Mhm.
one that has been so fruitful, I will say. So thank you
Mm.
for the welcome. There's so much I have not done and not seen.
Yeah.
The first I've been here, it's been go, 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 go,
Yeah.
go. So,
Yeah.
and so I'm looking forward to that. But thank you for the warm welcome. It is, it is,
Of
it is. I'm in one of my favorite movies, Coming to America. I'm very happy to be here.
course. All right. Well, let's talk about, so you teach people to rule, reign, and overcome. And
Yes.
we think about that in our everyday lives. What does that look like?
Right. I think really, if you look, so it's a scripture, Revelation 5:10, and God has made us kings and priests. So first level of that is in one person, one woman, one man, there are two realms. There's a spiritual side, that's the priest side, and there's a success side, that's the king side. And I think for many people, they see those as, again, these two things that don't really
Mhm.
connect. So if I'm going to be spiritual, I cannot have success. Lie. If I'm going to be successful, I can't be spiritual. Lie. In
Right.
fact, I'll be successful because of my spirituality. So these two things connect like this. And so understanding that principle, I think in your daily life, the way that looks like, we have these services that we have that say rule, reign, conquer, and subdue. When you think of that, you have to look over your life because it's going to be specific for every individual. What are the things that try to rule over you? Let's be real pragmatic. Maybe it's your thinking. Maybe it's your past. Maybe it's a bad relationship. Maybe it's making some of the same bad decisions over again. When you think about ruling, it just simply means that that no longer has authority over me. I have authority over it. We can
Mhm.
think about reigning, it means that that thing no longer has authority over me. I have authority over it over time. And that's what it is to really be a conqueror and to really subdue things in life. It doesn't mean that I just won the battle once. It means that I keep winning the battle over and over again. Life is
Mhm.
simply a series of battles every single day. And for
Mm.
those who are like, I just want peace. Well, you can have peace about what you go through, but don't expect what you go through to be peaceful.
Well, yeah, that's a that's a word in itself right there.
Yes, yes, it
I love
is.
that. Yeah.
I think that happens a lot for people.
Mhm.
Is there's this expectation that they want no battles. Well, if you have no battles, then you have no blessings. I
Mm.
want no warfare. If you have no warfare, you're not going anywhere.
Mm.
So the reality is
Yes.
accepting the fact that you're going to have battles, you're going to have warfare. I can be good though in the midst of that. So I'm not afraid of the storm. Storm, I am the storm. So you watch out for me.
Yes, I love that because you're right. And something else you said earlier is when you feel, people feel like, success in being spiritual are
Right,
things that don't connect, that it's like
right,
you have to be one without the other. And I'm really glad that you mentioned that because I'm
right,
like, the only way for me as a person who is a Christian
right.
and like that's the only way I see success is because of whose I am and because of what I
Exactly.
believe and what all the things that come to me are because of God. They are not because I'm somebody that's so like smart and I can do all these things on my own. It's because of the gifts that he's given.
Yes.
And it
So
just it and you think it's like such a simple thing, but it is hard for a lot of people who think that, like, well, I can't be, oh, I got success because I had this idea and I'm so great and I'm the one, I have these connections, and I'm
Mhm.
like, no, like the connections are divine. My connections are divine. The ones that
Yes.
come, people that come to me are from God. Like, I ask every day, I'm like, do not give me what I want.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
none of me, but all of you. Because, and it takes a while, I think, for us to get there. Even those of us who are Christian, we can
Right.
have a setback sometimes where
Sure.
you can get in this place of, whether it's a job or you have these opportunities. And sometimes people can forget that
Mhm.
these things were already aligned in your path. Like, they were already a part of your plan and your story.
Yep.
You're just now getting to that point,
Yep.
and you can't lose sight of, like, how you got it, that
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
you. It's not
Yep.
only you. So,
Yep.
I
Yep.
love
I
um
if I could just throw this on there real fast,
yeah.
'cause you said it so well. A good way to look at that is the Apostle Paul writes this line. He says, "I can do all things." And he lists all of these difficult things that he's had to do.
Mhm.
He says, "I can do all things." Okay, so that's me. And then he throws this on the back end, which is the most important part, through Christ that strengthens me, which
Mhm.
means it is a recognition that this is all God. He uses me as a vessel, as a tool, whatever terminology you want to use there. But I recognize that it's all God. And that's important because when you're going through storms, sometimes you'll be a David looking at a Goliath and say, how am I going to do this? Well,
Mhm.
you alone? Yeah, that's going to be a problem. But if God be for you, who would
Yeah,
dare be against you? So I
exactly.
think it's important to know that because when you face a battle that you're looking at and you're like, how am I going to
Right.
deal with this? I'm looking at a building right here. It's this huge bank building, this huge, huge bank building. And you can look at this thing, how am I going to scale this? How am I going to get that? Well,
Mhm.
yeah, you by yourself, that's going to be a problem. But if God be
Yeah.
for you, you got that all day long.
Yes, exactly. I want to talk about something, especially as those of us who are entrepreneurs. When we talk about, and even just everyday people, like every day,
Mhm.
talking about being busy versus being fruitful. Because there's a lot of times, we're just going around doing things,
Mhm.
just be doing things. So, can you talk about how we can recognize the difference between I'm just busy, or and being fruitful?
Right. So good. Okay. So I think I'll use a gym analogy. So I've lost now like 120 pounds of fat.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I started the journey way back in 2013. And I tried everything: slim slow, slim fast, eat all the carbs you want, eat no carbs, protein power, eat this, drink this shake, don't drink this shake, drink the water. Like I tried everything. In other words, I prayed for strategy. And I'm going there to answer this question because I prayed for a strategy and said, okay, God, nothing else is working for me. So
Mhm.
you have to give me a divine strategy. And I think that's a takeaway for everybody. Your life hasn't been regular. So stop trying to do what regular people do. If you do what other people do, you get what other people got. And you don't want, most of the times, we don't want that. We want beyond supernatural.
Right.
So I started just with changing my diet. And I would do, some light walking, exercising, lost the first 75 pounds in 3 months. Another 20 pounds will be beyond that. And then now we go here. I remember getting to a point where I was saying, all right, I need to. It was during the pandemic. I put on some. I was preaching at or speaking rather at an event in Huntsville, Alabama. I've been pretty casual during the pandemic. I went to put on a tux because they had a formal event that night.
Uh-huh.
And said, the band said not happening. I thought, what's going on? I have been doing things and doing life the way that I normally do it. What's
Mhm.
going on? What's happening? And as a result of that, I had to change things. I had to go into the gym. And here's the point. I remember going into the gym and I didn't like going into the gym. So I literally prayed. This is what I did. I literally prayed to God, you have to give me a desire to go into the gym. I don't like
Mhm.
the smell of the gym. I don't like the look of the gym. I don't like any of this. I said, so you have to give me a desire to go into the gym. And so as a result of that, I get into the gym and I start doing some of my cardio in the gym. And here's the point. I'm on one machine, putting out a lot of energy, but I'm not going
Mhm.
anywhere. And
Mhm.
there was something about that that psychologically didn't work for me. I said,
Mhm.
because I think this is how most people live. Oh, I'm so busy. Ooh, I'm doing so
Mhm.
much. You put out a lot of energy, but you
Mhm.
were not productive. You were just busy. And the difference is
Right.
this: what do I have to show for what I've done?
Mhm.
What have I produced for what I've done? And I think if you use that analogy of like being on a treadmill at a gym, you begin to ask yourself, all right, is this actually forward movement or is this busyness? Because movement by itself isn't momentum, it's not forward movement. Am I producing something? Am I accomplishing something? And you view that two ways: internally and externally. Sometimes I'm not going to see what's going on. That's why I gave that whole analogy. I didn't see what was happening when I was going through the process of weight loss. I didn't see what was happening. In fact, when I had lost the first 75 pounds, I didn't even recognize I had done it. And because we've been
Mhm.
pretty casual that year, and I went to again put on a suit for give it a scooter and the pants didn't fit. So I looked at one of my assistants and said, "How y'all pack me somebody else's suit? Whose suit is this? What this is not mine." I didn't even recognize that the
Right.
change was happening so quickly
Mhm.
that I had lost, a toddler, right? And didn't even know it. So sometimes the change, the productivity is internal. Your skills have sharpened, your emotional elasticity is greater. Your ability to bounce back is greater. You don't let things that worry you before worry you now.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're no longer concerned about the odious opinions of people that aren't helping you to advance. And then sometimes the productivity is going to be external. I can see that my business was here, now it's here. My staffing
Mhm.
was here, now it's here. My capacity was here, now it's here. So you have to look at it both ways, but
Right.
there's a
Yeah.
very big difference between being busy and productive.
Yeah. And like you said, you have to be able to see the results.
Mhm, mhm.
Essentially. And so
Absolutely.
and while we're on that, I'm gonna ask you a question about results because a
Yes.
lot of times, as you mentioned, so you were just saying like when you were losing weight, you were losing weight and you really had sort of lost track of the fact that the results
Mhm,
were so huge until you
mhm.
got to that suit moment.
Right,
What about people out there who are doing things and they feel discouraged because they're only seeing like small results?
right.
How do those people feel, like to keep pushing?
Yeah, I think so. Small results are still results.
Eh,
I
true.
think you know why I think we do that is because I think for many of us we begin to live life through the lens of but look at so and so's results.
Mhm, mhm.
And then social media makes it easy because I can see what everybody's doing. Right, pick up my phone,
Right.
look at what they're doing, look what they're doing. And
Yeah.
I always say this: people pose to post,
Yes.
and so of course they post to post, but no, but just let's look at pose in
Mhm.
the this definition. Posing as if it's not necessary just because they took a picture of it doesn't mean it's factual, doesn't
Exactly.
mean it's true. I mean, you know this in entrepreneur, you know this in everybody, that people will pose. That's hearts.
Yes.
They will get
Yes.
in front of a plane that ain't even got no engine in it. They they they, they will have designer bags that they got out of the trash can from the side of the stuff. I literally was watching this video the other day and was so shocked to discover how far many people will go
Mhm.
to make it seem like they're doing something.
Yes.
They will post that they're living the high life, and then you see them, and you're like, where? People have to pose to post. There's whole
Exactly.
studios that help people to do that. I
Yes.
say that to
Yes.
say, don't believe and don't compare. Number one, don't believe everything you
Right.
see. But then number two, don't compare your results to other people's results. Your results match where you're at right now, and you sometimes even have to be thankful that it wasn't as big as what you wanted, because the question is, did I have the capacity to handle it?
Right. Oh, yes.
Everybody wants to call the shots, but to call the shots, you have to take the shots. So,
Mhm.
I remember as we continued to grow and build at Denver and online and all that, and shots were coming at me. I was like, what's going on with this? I had to build an internal structure, an internal integrity to recognize that you will simply have shots taken at you from
Mhm.
all angles, internal and external. And sometimes you have to be thankful that you didn't get what you wanted,
Mhm.
when you wanted, how you wanted it, because
Yes.
you wouldn't have been able to handle what comes with that. Everybody wants to be a millionaire until they have to deal with millionaire problems.
Yes. Until you are paying the taxes on millionaires. dollars and
the taxes, and then when
yes.
people know you have it, then all of
Yes.
a sudden you become a target. And then, you know, there's so many things that go along with success. Everybody wants to be the boss until you
Yeah,
all the
till you have
problems are on your desk.
yes, yes.
People are
I
starting to live with issues. Yeah.
exact oh, yeah, because you just become a dumping ground. It's just like, "Oh, well, I got a problem." Dump.
Yep.
"Oh,
Yep.
this
Yep.
happened." Dump.
Yep.
I love
So
that. Thank you so much for saying that because I
very
think it's so important for people to just realize that, like, yes, right? The small wins, like you said, they're still wins.
the wins.
And if you have to write them down, like I keep a calendar where in my planner, I write down something that happened every day. It could be the smallest thing, but I just want to acknowledge that something good happen or that I move the ball down the
Yep.
field. That's
Yep.
something. And yes, you're right. Please stay off social media in the sense of looking at comparison to other people's lives. I go to social media mostly to laugh and to
Hmm.
get informed, but I'm not I never believe the stories that people put out there unless they're a person that talks about the setbacks. If there's somebody who's like, "Yeah, okay, well, y'all, let me just be real.
Yep.
This happened today." If they're that type of person and then they get a win, I'm like, "Yes, yes, good for you, because you
Yep.
shared all the things." But
Yep.
never just see, like you said, the person posing with all the trips and I'm
Yep.
not saying people don't do that because there are
Yep.
people who are fully out there doing those things and living that life, and kudos to them.
Yep.
But please never, because what is for you, what God has for you, it will be for you, it will be yours. And just another thing you said, like, yes, all day to give me the blessing when I can handle it.
Mm.
Because we always want something more and you may not be ready. And it's a beautiful thing when
Mhm.
you get to see the other side of the thing that you thought you wanted. And then you're like, God, look at you. Thank you. Because
Thank you. Thank you for, you know, here it is. Thank you for the no.
yes, because I'm
Like maturity is thanking God, not just for
yeah.
the yeses,
Yeah.
but even more so for the no's.
The doors or
Because
the closed doors, the
yes,
all those
yes.
things.
There's the scripture I love. It says, "No good thing will he withhold." So here's the revelation: anything that was held wasn't good for me.
Right.
So that you make peace with everything
Mhm.
to say,
Mhm.
okay, well, clearly that was withheld because that's not what's good for me right now.
Mhm.
You know, it could boil down to relationships. I see this happen a lot of times with couples and singles. They'll, you know, I want this and I want to be married. I'm like, okay, great. But do you understand what that actually entails? It's more than
Right.
just y'all date night, look at Bay and matching cars and that. Like, do you understand? First of all, again, these people are posting and take these pictures. That's a narrative. And a
Yeah.
narrative is very different than the truth.
Exactly.
And I love what you said about extracting. Tell me the story. If you can't show me your gutter, I don't want to see your glory because I'm
Exactly.
suspect of your glory if I didn't get to see your gutter. I don't really
Exactly.
believe I don't believe that because I know what it is to come from nothing and turn it into something. And so to do that, it takes
Mhm.
more than just, you know, than just that. So
Mhm.
I love what you said. I love that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Show me the gutter. Go show me the
Yes.
gutter.
Show me the gutter. You know, like the guys, show me the money. No, show me the gutter.
So let's talk about in the sense of rejection, right? Like a lot of people feel, when rejection happens, it
Yep.
derails some. And we sort of are extending by saying when God tells us no.
Yep.
How do people keep building, especially when you're in the flesh sense of it, right? And you're overlooked or you're underestimated. If somebody's like on a job and they feel like they were overlooked for a promotion, or someone is an entrepreneur and they're building a business and people are like, you're never gonna amount. It's never gonna work. What do you say to guide those people?
Yeah. You know, rejection is redirection. And rejection is also protection. Rejection shows me
Yes.
who, what, where I don't belong. And one of the best things to do is to know who's not supposed to be with you. Um,
Yes.
it's the best thing. I want to know if you don't like me. I want to know today. Don't make
Thank
me
you.
wait 14 months to find out that you secretly are a hater. Tell me today. Again, since we're using scripture, I'm gonna just go there. Jesus tells Judas, he says, "Do what you got to do quickly. Hurry up and let me know who you are." So that way I can put you in the right category. I think
Yes.
one of the greatest challenges people have is wanting people to like them who barely like themselves.
A word.
wanting people to accept them who are struggling to accept themselves.
Mhm.
So I learned, and you have to go through stuff to learn this. I learned I will not tether my acceptance, my life, anything about who I am to another
Mhm.
person's view of me, another person's opinion of me. I
Mhm.
view it like this: God knows everything about me and still gets with me, and still wants
Yes.
me, and still loves me. You think you know. Do
Mhm.
whatever you're going to do. There's 8 billion people on the planet. God will raise up another. So rejection is one, it is protection, and then it's redirection. The redirection says, I can't do it this way, but I can do it another way. Like
Mhm.
I think whenever I get see something as rejection, as a no, I say, well, you didn't finish the sentence. It's this way. So
Mhm.
it's not no, it's you're missing the T off of not.
Yeah.
Not this way.
Yes.
So it lets me know, try it another way. And I have used that so many times in ministry, in life, in business,
Mhm.
where you try one way, oh, there's no way to get it done. Well, you're not the final answer. You're not
Right.
the final thing. Maybe it's a bank people are working with. And at some point in your journey, you get it where the banks call you and track you down. But at some point, maybe you're the one trying to track the bankers down and whatever it is you're trying to get your hands on. And so, I can remember through the years, oh no, there's no way they'll do that. I said, well, no, you can't do it. Don't tell me it can't be done.
Mhm.
So thank you, but I'm going to keep it moving. Maybe there's
Mhm.
people who, don't like the way you do things or don't want to work with you, don't want to do business with you, or don't like your product or don't like what you're selling. It's okay. Somebody does.
Mhm.
There's an audience for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And my success doesn't have to come at the hands of somebody else's failure. So you do you, I'm going to do me. Thank you for the redirection. Thank you for the
Yeah.
protection, because without that, I wouldn't be in the right place at the right time.
Mhm. Yeah, oh, I love that. So many great things you said in there. About, people and show me just yeah, I love that. Just go ahead and show them who you are now and get out the
Yeah.
way.
So many.
Because yeah, because so many people are carrying like internal haters in their
Yes.
circles and people who are
Yes.
like jealous and actively rooting against them, but
Yes.
showing up and pretending.
Yep.
It is and it's okay. Like it's okay to close those doors, those
Yep.
seasons. Like I always tell people, I'm like, it's just a season. Like, I mean, I can still from afar, I wish you the best.
Yep.
I mean, I love you from afar, but we don't have to rock together every day because we're on two different paths.
Yep.
And I think that's
Absolutely.
important. People have a hard time with like letting go of those things, but it's just like, no, it's like you want to keep moving. And so it's easy because it's so my pastor a couple weeks ago talked about like elevating our circles and what
Mm,
type of people do we have around us.
mhm.
And I was like, that's so true because you have to have a certain type of people. And you have to have people, obviously, you gotta have people smarter than you. Like,
Mhm.
you just have to have people who are smarter than you. Like, I can't be the smartest person in my circle.
Right.
You've got to have people that are smarter than you and driving, and are doing things. Like, find the people who are doing the things you want to be doing and latch on, learn from them,
Yeah.
learn from those people. But I also like what you said about attracting the right people or the right opportunities because I think for so many of us, and this is definitely something you said and it hit home for me because maybe a year ago, Kyra would have been like, "Oh, I want to do this thing. I keep following up." And it's like, after a while, it's like, nope. What will come to me with ease. And it will come to me. God will bring the connection to me. I
Mhm.
just need to be ready when it happens.
Right. And I think too, when it's really the difference between an abundance and a scarcity mindset. So a
Mhm.
scarcity mindset, just the only way, just the only way, just the only way,
Yep.
only deal,
Chase
only
them
doing,
down.
only
Yep.
company. And but I believe there's persistence that's necessary because I think that's a double-edged sword.
Right.
I know you're persistent, and I just want to say this for the audience though, because I hear some people say that and they use that same ideology as an excuse to do nothing. So
Ah,
they send one
mhm.
email and say, "Well, if God wanted me to have it, He would have it." No, man, you go. Let's go
Yeah,
Bible,
look.
knock and keep knocking, and the door will
Yeah.
open. Now, it might not be this door, but I got to keep knocking on doors. So,
Yes.
I think that's important to say because I've seen a
Mhm.
lot of people, again, back into that as really a form of procrastination and fear.
Mhm.
I
That is so
said,
true.
well, I sent an email 4 weeks ago. Did you even make sure they got it? Like, how do you know it didn't go into
Yeah,
their spam?
you gotta do more than one.
Right, you got to do more than once. I just like to say that because I
Yeah.
sometimes, with my business owners and entrepreneurs and things, as I'm doing one-on-ones or mentoring or group coaching or whatever, And they'll say, I reached out, and I'll say, okay, great. So what did you do after you reached out? Well, I'm just, I just, no, I don't know. At the end of the day, it could be a very practical reason
Mhm.
that you
Right.
haven't heard back.
Mhm.
And so at the end of the day, if you're not taking proper steps to be persistent, sometimes God hides opportunities and obstacles. So you have to learn how to deal with the obstacle
Mhm.
course,
Mhm.
which means I may have to go around a few things, do a few different things differently,
Yeah.
but I have to be persistent. So I think that's really crucial
Yeah.
and important. And I just want to throw one thing on there about the circle, because what I hear from a lot of people today is that they feel alone. They feel like it's just them. They
Mhm.
have a lot of people they talk to, but not a lot of people they can connect with.
Mhm.
A lot of people know them, but they're not necessarily friends with a lot of people. They have a lot of
Right.
acquaintances. Like they say, it's the number one epidemic in the world today. It's
Mhm.
loneliness.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you could have one of the things I want to just point out is sometimes you have to build your circle, and you have to build it in a non-conventional way. Meaning maybe your circle is somebody that you connect with on social media, that
Mhm.
just like your podcast. And they say, you know what? She part of my circle. This part of
Yeah.
they don't know you. They haven't talked to you. They haven't spoken to you. This part of it, this informant, that's part of my circle. That's my clothes. That's my back.
Mhm.
But sometimes you have to do it in a very untraditional way,
Right.
to expand your circle,
Mhm.
because sometimes you're going to have to learn how to do things that feel like it's just you until certain seats are filled in person. Never let, I hear this happen all the time. Never let, well, I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody. Nobody will do this. Nobody will do this. This is the 21st century. You can pick up your phone and connect to anything, anyone, anybody,
Mhm.
anywhere. And
Mhm.
sometimes they have to just be phantom members of your circle. Put that
Mhm.
phone right up there and say, okay, y'all, in our meeting, here go Bishop over here. And I mean, they're going to go a podcast right here, whatever it might
Yeah.
be. And really, really taking it that way.
No, I appreciate you bringing that point up because I think that is something that a lot doesn't get talked about enough, that people still feel there are people who are lonely. And I
Mhm,
think that so many people felt like, oh, because the pandemic passed and people started going back out. But I hear it so often
mhm,
from my therapist that she still talks to a lot of people who still feel like they are alone in this world. They don't have connections. They can't find people, so that is something that we as people have to continue to do. And of course, I want people. If you think this podcast, we're your friends, I'm your homegirl. Like I am your homegirl. Like we,
mhm,
we're
mhm.
in it. We're
Put
in
the
it
phone up
together.
in the meeting. Put the phone in a seat at the boardroom.
Exactly. We are
Yes.
here.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. So I'm glad that you called that out because I don't want people to ever forget that like there are people who are still struggling, who aren't able to quite find their way back to the things just yet.
So true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important. That's really
Mhm.
important, because sometimes people will use that as a reason to do nothing, and they'll say, "Well, I'm just waiting on my people." Well, listen,
Yeah.
sometimes the people going to have to not be in your city. They may
Yeah.
not be
Yeah.
in your house. They may not be immediately around you.
Yeah.
And you can't use that as a reason to not move forward.
Right. Yeah. You just, yeah, gotta take a small step, even if it's
Yes.
just like you said, just connecting to someone online. And
Yes.
it's I know it sounds hard, but it's, like, so easy when like, if you find the people who are doing
Yeah.
the things that you like to do,
Yeah.
then you can make those connections.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about some of the books you have. You've written a
Okay.
lot of books, so,
Yeah.
there are a lot, so I'm gonna let you I got a list of them here, but I'm gonna
Okay.
let you pick out some to
I
talk
got it.
about to the audience.
Yeah, so I would talk about the top three. One, I just want to say this, and I'm sure you got tons of women, tons of men that watch. I write my books for a man in mind. What I mean by that is they are to the point and they are short. I like to say that because whenever I do these interviews and I'm chatting with a man, that's always comes up, and I never have to say it because they'll bring it up.
Mhm.
Tip is, I like your book. I can see that it's not that long, that type of thing. And it gets to the point. I like to say that because they're very pragmatic. You're going to get the
Mhm.
story, but you're also going to get the steps. And I think
Mhm.
what typically happens for a lot of people is you get a bunch of story with no steps, or you get no steps. You get a bunch of steps with no story.
Right.
I give you both. And one of them is called Sins of the Fathers,
Mhm.
Breaking Generational Curses.
Yeah.
I love that book because the opening story is about my stepfather. So the man I am is a man I made. I didn't see, I'm the first in my bloodline to do virtually everything that I do. First to achieve certain educational levels, first a bishop, first to achieve certain financial levels. So you name it, the first. And
Mhm.
I say that because many people watching, you're the same thing. You're the first, you're the
Mhm.
curse breaker. A
Mhm.
curse is just an empowerment to fail. A generational curse is a dysfunctional pattern of behavior that's passed down and around. And I've heard people say, "Well, I don't believe in those." I said, well, you don't have to. Look at your life. It believes in you. Look at your family. It believes in you. Look at your community.
Right.
It believes in you. Like you denying the existence of a thing doesn't mean
Mhm.
that that thing doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yep.
And so that being the case, I talk about how my stepfather never met his biological father. In fact, his mother, when she was pregnant with him, in self defense, unalived his biological father. So he never met him. And here's the point. But he became just like him. He was a womanizer. He was an abuser. If you think of the movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? Ike Turner,
Mhm.
that was my stepfather.
Oh.
It depended on the day, it depended on the drug, it depended on what he was doing. So
Mhm.
as a kid, I saw that and it drove something, it stirred something in me to be a curse breaker.
Right.
Because sometimes the gift God gives you is not what to be, it's what not to be.
Right.
Right? Sometimes you see, don't do this, don't be like him, don't do
Mhm.
this. And so it's a powerful book that will help everybody to say, where are some of these things that are in my bloodline, in my family, in my history, in
Mhm.
my community that I'm the interruption to? You'll discover you've already broken more than you know, and then it'll help you to clearly see what still remains to be broken.
Okay.
Powerful book. Second book I'll bring out, my one I did called Making Money Moves, the art of getting your
Mhm.
finances in order. I wrote that book. So by the time I was 21 years old, I built Denver, Colorado's largest black-owned mortgage brokerage. I was doing amazingly well, fresh out of high school, started my first business when I was 12, got into ministry at 12. So I was used to success and doing well. You get to 21, amazing feat. A few years later, the entire industry collapsed. Not just my company, the industry collapsed over the weekend, like literally over the weekend. On Friday, we left, amazingly well. Monday, the house is on fire, right? So I immediately have to make a series of changes. And I say to God, God, if you get me through this, I will teach everybody else how you did it and how to get
Mhm.
out of it.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you go through valleys, they are to give you the grace to help other people get through the valley. You go through
Mhm.
it so you can help somebody else through it. In that book, I literally talk about how I bounced back multiple times, taking nothing, turning it into something, how I
Mhm.
gave my way out, the business lessons I learned, lessons about how to negotiate. I mean, so much is in that. I literally sat down. We had a 3-day blizzard in Denver, and I sat
Mhm.
down and I banged out that book and that doing that thing, nothing else to do, do that 3-day blizzard and knocked it out. So there's
Awesome.
that. And the most
Mhm.
recent, which is going to be releasing real soon, is called History Makers. Harvest will be evolving into history makers. And I believe that everybody was sent to be a history maker in some way. So you'll see a theme. Theme is you'll be the first. You're the line crosser, the boundary breaker, the
Mhm.
history maker. And so in that book, it's real practical about how everybody walks in the thing they're supposed to do
Mhm.
to make history. Somebody may be watching because you used this phrasing earlier, but I'm just an everyday person. I'm just a mom. No, ma'am, you are not just a mom.
Mhm.
Moses' mama maybe thought she was just a mom
Mhm.
until she realized I am producing one of the
Right.
greatest leaders that will ever walk on this planet. He won't be
Mhm.
perfect, he'll be flawed, but he will be effective.
Mhm.
Jesus' mama maybe thought I'm just a mom, but ma'am,
Right.
you are giving birth to the king. The king is the
Mhm.
Lord of you that's going to change the world. A
Mhm.
person might think I'm just a teacher. I'm just a this. You're not just anything. You
Right.
don't know how what you're doing is going to impact not just your life, but the lives of people around you. And
Mhm.
so it really talks about how do you be a history maker in your everyday life. So that's
Oh, I
coming out
love
really
that.
soon.
Awesome. Love that. Okay, so you have to tell everybody where they can connect to you, how they could possibly work with you, and where can they get the books.
Yes. So bishopforeman.com, Foreman. That's the website. Social media, all of them are at Bishop Foreman. Always look for the blue checks. I only say that because if you go to TikTok, there's 100 fake profiles of me, and like
Mhm.
literally 100 fake profiles. So I just like to say that to people because people will go and they'll have a whole conversation with
Mhm.
somebody. They'll say,
Yeah.
"Listen, is this you?" I said, "Now, if you have to ask me if that's me, you know that's not me." But that's one way. And for your audience, we're doing something special. So we want to be a blessing. We want to, I believe in pouring into people. So for your audience, those who text the word bishop to the phone number 55498, text word bishop to the phone number 55498. We want to sow into them. We've got we want to give them a major discount off of anything they get out of our store.
Awesome.
That's books, messages, more, everything that they can need. So many resources. We got what we call building a successful business or organization from scratch. It's literally the same format that I've used to build multiple successful,
Mm.
businesses and NPOs, nonprofit organizations, what have you. And it literally walks you through those steps. So that's for something we're doing just for your needs.
Awesome. We love it. And I'll make sure it's in the show notes as
Yes.
well so you can grab that. All right. Now, thank you so much. We're going to transition into
Yes.
three things with Bishop Foreman. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you three questions that
Okay.
just helps our audience get to know you a little bit better.
I
So,
love it.
this is one of my favorite questions to ask. How do you start and end the day?
Oh my God. And this is not cliche, it's true. I started talking to God. The
Mhm.
moment I open my eyes, it goes like this. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm gonna rejoice and be made glad in it. And then sometimes I like to remind, for me, I like to remind the enemy, I got up again. I-
Mhm.
I'm still here. What you tried yesterday did not work. Sometimes you gotta arouse the inner thug on the inside of you and just be clear about that. So, and I mean that in a good way. So, and then I normally end the day the exact same way.
Mhm.
It's a relationship for me, so it's conversational. Lord,
Mhm.
thank you for getting me through this day. This has been a great day. Thank you for what I've learned. I normally started that way, and I normally ended that way.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Question number two is what's a focus or an intention for you in this season?
Love it. So 2026 is our God year. And long story short, 26 is the numerical value of God's covenant name in scripture. So if anybody looks at their Bible and they see LORD in all caps, it's his covenant name. What Yud Hey Waf, it equals the number 26. So this year it's about things not just being good, but being God. And so my private equity firm where we buy and sell businesses. One of the things that I've discovered that does that checks so many boxes for me in everything that's important to me is empowering people and keeping people, providing people with great employment, keeping people employed,
Mhm.
and making sure that they're able to be and do all of that. And so for me, one of the areas of focus is I don't just want it to be good, I want it to be God. And so
Yeah.
that's my family, that's faith, that's fitness, that's my future, that's
Mhm.
finances, all of those F's. To me, it's like, okay, how do we make sure we're getting God-sized results in each area, not just good results in each area? So I'm focusing more on execution than
Mhm.
ideation.
Oh, awesome.
Because if it's my God year, I'll leave it right here. God starts with a go. Right. I know that's like
Yes.
the simplest thing, right? Like, duh, but that's the point.
Yeah.
So for me, this year is all about execution.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And the last question is where are you currently finding inspiration?
Oh my goodness, this is gonna sound crazy, and it's gonna sound cliche, but in everything. I literally have learned through one, I create environments. I think this is important for everybody, especially entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders. You have to master your own environment. Other than that, your environment will master you.
Mhm.
So I create, you see this big old line behind me. This is to
Mhm.
remind me that you better get out there and roar. You better be bold. There's swords all around my home that remind me to be the gladiator, to fight, to be the warrior. There's all kinds of things. So I find inspiration and one creating an environment that reinforces what I believe and reinforces who I am. But then I find I can be driving down the street and I'll see something and it inspires me. Being in Atlanta, you can see a lot. You go down one street, then
Yeah.
you go down the next street, it's mansions, you go down the next street, it's like I don't know where I'm at. Go down the next street, it's super city, next street is super country. And what that does is it shows me the importance of versatility, being able
Mhm.
to navigate in different places and different spaces with different faces. And so I find inspiration, honestly, from every single thing. Sometimes I'll just turn on a song. I love New Jack Swing music. So Guy,
Mm,
Teddy
mhm.
Riley, all through
Uh-huh.
the so in doing that, I can be listening to a song and then this is gonna sound crazy, but then I'll hear the beat and then I'll be
Mhm.
reminded this is gonna be an amazing day. So I honestly find inspirational in everything. I really do.
I love that. I love that. Well, I just want to say, Bishop Foreman, thank you so much for coming today. This has been a great conversation. This is exactly the types of conversations I like to have where people leave with like real tangible things that they can apply in their lives. So before I let you go, I'm going to ask you one last question.
Yeah.
It is, what are three things that the audience listening or watching can take away from today's conversation?
You know what? One, go for it. Go. Like God starts with go. Go for it.
Mhm.
I think, and I want to say this especially in love to those who have been marginalized, disenfranchised, those that are not the mainstream, those that often the term minority is applied. And that could be a variety of different things, whether it's your race, whether, black, brown, a woman, whatever. Um, Sometimes the thought is you have to constantly over prepare. I have to over educate. And so I have to overdo these things. And there's a bias that's sometimes internally created thinking that, you know what, I'm going to do it, but I just need more information. I'm going to do it, but I just got to go do this again. And I'm for education. We have a whole Bible college. So I'm for
Mhm,
education, for
mhm, mhm.
preparation, but that cannot replace execution. Go. Let this be your confirmation. Go
Mhm.
for it. And sometimes you have to build it as you go. But if you spend another year getting ready instead of going, next year we're gonna be having the same conversations. That's number one.
Exactly. Yep,
Number
yep.
two, I would say do it. And when you go for it afraid. Don't worry. Don't wait to feel confident before you take action. Often, once you take action, confidence precedes that. Sometimes we wait. I don't feel confident about it. Sometimes you're not gonna feel confident till you get out there and say,
Exactly.
"Ooh, it's
Yep.
working. Ooh, it's working. Ooh, it's working." And even if it's not working, like there may be some challenges or changes, but that's the way that works. And then the last thing that I would say to people is, don't be afraid of failure. Failure is one of the number one ingredients to success. And so you look at anybody, any success stories, check their gutters, like we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
Every success story, there's gutter. I think about real fast Conrad Hilton. Everybody knows that last name from the Hilton
Mhm.
brand of hotels. He never wanted to get into the hotel business. He got into it because of failure. He went down to Texas to buy an oil field and gets there. The man changes the terms on him and says, take it or leave it, right? Rejection. So what happened? It's redirection. He goes and stays at this hotel that's in the same city, and the hotel is not very nice. But he noticed it's 100% full all the day because they got a bunch of guys that are working the oil fields. And so
Mhm.
they're there, in and out, in and out. They're turning the rooms really fast, in and out, in and out. Conrad says to the owner of the hotel, you want to sell? Well, what's your price? The same amount he was going to get a guy for the oil field is up to this for the hotel. He buys that first hotel. Years later, the Hilton Hotel brand is known around the globe. And that is because of something that originally looked like failure. So I
Mhm.
say to everybody, you'll fail your way to favor. You'll fail your way forward.
Right.
Don't, it's not over for you. This is the best years and days of your life.
Awesome. I love that. Those were so great. I just want to say thank you so much again. I've loved, enjoyed this conversation so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Let me just say thank you for what you do. Creating these conversations create catalysts for transformation. So you never know the extent of lives that you'll impact by something you could think it was innocuous. It was something so insignificant, but it can
Mhm.
make a major impact in the lives of people. So thank you for what you do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I received that.
My pleasure.
All right. Stay tuned, everyone. All right, welcome back to the show. And let's thank Bishop Foreman again for that great conversation. You can learn more about him and the work he does in the show notes. And also make sure you text that number to text Bishop to the number in the notes as well. So you can take advantage of the offer just for Glow Up Girl listeners and watchers. All right, if you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, make sure you visit glowupgirl.com and sign up for our newsletter to get tools, insights, and inspiration for your glow up journey. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. We are at Glow Up Girl, and wherever you're listening, don't forget to rate, review, and also share. Helps more people find the show. And if you're sharing on socials, make sure you tag us so we can amplify your content as well. All right, last, if you are ready to turn your personal story into purpose, check out Story Labs at glowupgirl.com/story-labs. It's for creatives and business owners ready to tell their story. So if you're someone who said this year, this is the year of podcasts, this is the year of speaking engagements, but you don't quite know what that narrative looks like for you, I offer this service to you. You fill out a quick little questionnaire. We spend about 2 hours together, and then I help you to create what that narrative should look like for you. All right. Also, if you're someone who's looking to partner with the podcast, you can go over to our website. We're accepting sponsorships, and also you can reach out at hello@glowupgirl.com. All right. Thanks again for spending part of your day with me. I really, really appreciate all the support. So I will see you all again next week. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.